Hey, it's Dave Wyman from Bob, Dave & More. It's time for Football 101. Disappointing loss, 37-34 to the Cardinals. Seahawks dropped to 5-1. Loss in overtime that you just expected them to win. And, you know, I want to go ahead and continue to talk about defense. I know everybody's frustrated. It's hard to explain a lot of the leaky yardage and things that are happening, but I just want to show, I've been using this word a lot lately, promising. There's some promising things. Quinton Dunbar, you know, that's a guy that I've called promising. But a guy who came off of the injured list, Jordyn Brooks, the number 27 pick of the draft this last year. I was really happy watching him play, and he did a couple of really good things that, again, are promising. He made a few tackles, and he was running around, but just the way he reads his keys is really exciting to see, and I think you're going to see a lot more of him. Here's one of the things that's been a huge problem for the Seahawks: deep crossers. The deep cross against a zone. So this is cover 3. Let's take a look. This is a play that was about 6:16 in the first quarter, and where they ran a deep crossing route by a tight end. So first of all, this is cover 3 right here. So you have Dunbar over here, and he's bailing to his deep third. And remember how we determine coverages is you call it based on how you cover the deep part of the field. If you got 3 players back, it's cover 3. So here's your free safety. Diggs dropping to the middle third, and then on this side you got Shaquille. And that means that you have 4 underneath droppers, because you got 4 guys rushing, 3 guys deep, and 4 underneath droppers. And that is the 3 linebackers and the strong safety. So that's what they do, and these are the routes that they run. And you just kind of, when you drop back into your zone, you're not just dropping to a spot, you're dropping to kind of crowd where the receiver is, and Ryan Neal does a good job. Bobby drops back and then ends up jumping this guy here, the running back who leaks out. And then, of course, over on this side, Shaquille, he's dropping back. And, you know, look, you don't just drop back here to your third just because it's cover 3. You kind of play the route, and then KJ's trying to get underneath that. But what Brooks did, and this is something, again, this has been a big problem for us, is the deep crosser. They ran this guy, and they know that this is a problem for the Seahawks on the back side of action, you know, where there's a little fake this way, you've got the strength over here, and then you run a guy all the way across to the weak side. Well, what Jordyn Brooks did is he backpedaled, and then he saw this guy, and he turned and ran with him. And, you know, Diggs ended up being over the top here, but he ends up, and it doesn't reflect it here on it's not to scale. He ran 35 yards, he was 35 yards deep. And it was just a great job. And Kyler Murray tried to throw the ball and threw it off target, but this is exactly what needs to happen in this defense. And, you know, teams are seeing this. So the fact that a rookie coming off of IR, or he wasn't on IR, but he was on the injured list, was able to recognize that and then in turn and run with this guy and discourage the throw. He wasn't, I don't think, anywhere near the ball, but I don't think the ball was near anyone. The receiver, the tight end, David Arnold, didn't catch it. Later in this game, this is in the first quarter, the longest play that the Seahawks gave up was a deep crosser to David Arnold. It was the same play going the other way, and the linebacker just didn't pick it up. But in the second quarter, at the 2-minute warning, David Arnold does the same thing. He runs that deep crossing route. They didn't get anybody underneath it. It was the longest play of the game, and that ended up being a play that got the Arizona Cardinals down to the 7-yard line. Next play, they score, make it 20-14. So this is a huge problem. And the fact that Jordyn Brooks, a rookie, and, you know, he's a 27th pick of the draft, just was able, and he didn't do a lot of this type of coverage in college at Texas Tech. He was more of a spy guy, man-to-man. And so for him to have the understanding of the zone, very promising. Let me show you another play that he made. This is after the DK Metcalf famous play. Just so inspiring watching DK chase down Budda Baker. But, you know, and when he did that, Rabel and I talked about that on the broadcast. Let's see how this, you know, comes out. It didn't end up, you know, winning the game for him, but it did end up, they ended up getting a stop, you know, and they tried to go for it on 4th down in the defense. On 3rd down, there's a huge play right here by, once again, Jordyn Brooks. So This is a play. I want to kind of explain what the offense is trying to do here. You've seen the Seahawks run this play. This is a tight end out here, but what the Seahawks do is they'll put DK Metcalf out here, and what he does is he cracks down on the defensive end, and then the tackle, Dwayne Brown, pulls around. They had a 34-yard touchdown, Carlos Hyde did, running this design out on the edge, meaning crack block here, and then, tackle pulls around and just leads the way. And so that's what they're trying to get done here. And this just ends up being a straight quarterback's sweep. The running back is coming, to try to block the corner. They're trying to get around the edge here with the tackle to block Ryan Neal. But what happens is that Benson Mayowa makes a really good play. He knows that this guy's trying to crack him, and he sort of kind of comes over the top, and he makes the tackle have to widen and go more that way. So he absolutely affects this play. But this is what I loved right here. When you're a middle linebacker, you read a triangle, okay? And again, this is about Jordyn Brooks' reads and how he's reading offenses. But one of the things that you look at and what they're trying to do is they're trying to get a block here. They block back here with the center. Anytime you see that and you're looking at that triangle as a linebacker, when block down, you're looking for a pulling guard, and that's exactly what they did. Block here, and then he's trying to get to this spot over here, and he'll end up blocking Jordyn Brooks. But Brooks read it so well. He took just a little bit of a stutter step, and he saw this, then he sees the guard pulling, and then he runs right through the lane right here and ends up tackling Kyler Murray for a loss. So just a beautiful diagnosis by him, both in the run game and in the pass game. Jordyn Brooks, again, very promising. Let's take a look at it on film. All right, here we have the pass play in the first quarter. Again, cover 3, so you see that Shaquille's going to drop to this third. This is Quandre Diggs and then Quinton Dunbar, and they're going to have the deep thirds here. And then you got 4 underneath droppers, which is KJ, Brooks, and Bobby Wagner, and Ryan Neal right there. And of course you got, your 4 pass rushers right here. Here's where you see it start to develop, and again, these underneath droppers, they're just trying to kind of drop to and crowd number 2. He's going to play him a little bit tighter because there's nobody dropping underneath, but still, being mindful of his deep third right there, Dunbar, and then, you see Diggs and Shaquille both starting to drop back. KJ busting his tail to try to get underneath this number 1 route. But and then Bobby eventually gets this check down that comes through. But this is where Jordyn Brooks is just taking a little back pedal, and then he just flips his hips and just turns and runs with the tight end, which is really key that he did that, because that's what has been killing this defense so far. And here you see he's turned his back, and that's in zone defense. You're not supposed to turn your back to the quarterback typically. Usually you do in man, of course, you just cover the guy everywhere. But this is one of those kind of rules where it might look like they have him man-to-man on a tight end, but really what it is if somebody runs through your zone, you pick them up a lot of times. That's the rule. And the fact that a rookie was able to do this, he's coming off of an injury, and to be mindful enough to know that, hey, this route right here has killed us. It's a pretty good job by him. Like I said, very promising, and here he is diving for the ball, and you can see the ball right there in the air, but it wasn't a catchable ball. Diggs is over the top anyway, but just a great job by the rookie, and you can see this is about 33 yards downfield right here for a linebacker to take that kind of a drop. I mean, typically you're dropping 12 to 15, so great effort by Jordyn Brooks. All right, here's the play down on the goal line, and this is 3rd and goal at the 2-yard line. And here's what I was talking about as far as they're trying to get a crack block here and then pull the tackle around. And he wants to try to turn it upfield, but what happens is that Mayowa fights across this so well that it ends up making this a little bit flatter. And the more you're going sideways as an offense, the less chance you have of getting north and south. And so that's what they do. They do a really good job of stringing this out. Now, here's Jordyn Brooks getting his read right here. He's just way ahead of this guard, this pulling guard right here. So he read the block back by the center. This is the pull here by the guard. And you can see that he's about the hash mark, and Brooks is maybe a couple yards ahead of him. So he's not going to be able to get this block, and just a really good job. These guys are already committed going up here, so it's going to create a big lane for Jordyn Brooks to run through. And there he is, and just taking a great angle, and really doing a good job of staying inside of Kyler Murray. You want to play inside it out because you don't want to get too far this way and then all of a sudden he cuts back. So you always sort of stalk him, his inside shoulder, and so he's doing a really good job of that. And again, there's the guard way back there. He's not going to get there to make that block. And here's Jordyn Brooks jumping on the back of Kyler Murray, and you probably thought he was going to get a clean shot with his head across the bow, but wasn't able to get there just because Kyler Murray is so fast. But for Jordyn Brooks to come all the way from in here to make this tackle, really cool to see. And there's the final result right there, and you see Ryan Neal up here doing a really good job helping turn this play back in. He gave himself up, taking on a big tackle, but here is Jordyn Brooks rewarding DK Metcalf for his effort, stalking down Budda Baker on that interception return, and Seahawks end up getting a stop here. And we talked to Will Dissly yesterday, and he said, hey, this is a 14-point play because you stopped a touchdown, and then the Seahawk offense took the ball and went down the field and scored a touchdown. So good job by DK, but really promising, really good stuff that we're seeing from Jordyn Brooks.
Football 101 is brought to you by Heritage Distilling Company, makers of BSB, Brown Sugar Bourbon.